Good evening, everyone. How's it going? We got an awesome show tonight. Uh, we got Jason on, and this project is spectacular, and I can't wait to talk to him about it. It hits you right in the feels for the '80s vibe. The artwork's awesome. It's reminiscent of uh, wow, I just had a brain fart. StarCraft, the old Blizzard game for the PC. So this stuff's really cool. So I'm really excited to talk to him about this project. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Jason out.
Hey, how's it going, Russ?
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Ready to talk comic books, ready to talk Lords of the Cosmos, man. It's been 18 days into the Kickstarter, and it's been busy, man. It's been a lot of fun. Hi, Trish.
Hey, Mike, thanks for dropping the link in there. So, yeah, you're 8 days into the project
No,
in
18, man.
18
18.
days.
Yeah.
That's right. I was on there today. It's got a couple weeks left on it. So,
Yep.
yeah, no, it's an awesome project. I really love, I don't know, when I went to the page and I scrolled past and I was going through all the art and I was just like, man, this is awesome. The insectoid cyborg creatures are freaking
hmm
amazing. I loved them.
Yeah. No, issue 4. I mean, we've come a long way since issue 1. We kind of started to learn how we were doing these books at that point. In issue 4, hey, how's it going? It's gotten better. And issue 4, man, we really hit our stride. It's 4 stories. It's 40 pages of comic book. So I did the main story. It's called Answer the Call, which is the continuation, the fourth part of the main story, where we really start to dig into the heroes. There's more drama amongst the villains, and we're really pushing towards the beginning of just a massive throwdown that'll start in issue 5. So I did that story, which was a lot of fun. And then that story starts to tie into some of the backstories. It ties into all 3 of them. So we introduce a biomechanical wizard called Tiedmus, and then they have a talking cat called the Phoenix. And we see their origins, where we learn that they're the last of our kind. And so that story is called Last of My Kind, and we learn their origins and how they joined the Lords of the Cosmos in the last war against the disciples of Umex. And then our main hero Aegis has a living sword, so we have a backstory to explain the origin of his sword, called "I am the Sword of Aegis," because his sword talks. So we follow his sword around as the sword is mined from a planet and becomes a sentient weapon that wants to kill everything. And then that ties into the main story. And then the third, and then Joe Freisoler from Ohio did that artwork, and he's outstanding. And Zach Brunner did the Talking Sword. Joe did Last of My Kind. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. But then we had an artist from Italy called Sasha do the 13-page origin story of the 8-legged cybernetic acid tank mech man Mordantix. And that is a
That's a
combination
mouthful.
of a David Cronenberg film and Saving Private Ryan with the Lords of the Cosmos and the Disciples of Umex, uh, as they duke it out on an amphibious beach landing with one of the Lords of the Cosmos, who is a battleship-sized turtle, shelling the beach with cybernetic crocodiles opening their mouths and unleashing werewolves and robots onto the beach. And that was intense. We had some backers that were in that story. Acid Tank Mech Man. That one really ties it together, because in the main story we find out that Psycorn, who is our zombie cyborg unicorn, really has a problem with Mordantix, and they hint at that in the main story. We explain that in Hunger, which is the name of that story, and why Mordantix has the hunger. So the book is an anthology that's all based around the Lords of the Cosmos. And then, because we've done 4 issues, there's a bunch of callbacks in this book to the prior issues to start saying, well, this guy's here because of this, and this guy's here because of that. So the more of these books we do, the more interconnected they start to become. We kind of stumbled into that formula when we started out, and we've really gotten better at it. But this book will take you to a bunch of different places with 4 different artists and different writing teams, but it all goes back to the same thing. It's a really fun book that bounces you all over the past and the future and the present. Well, not the future. We don't go too far into the future, but it just really goes all over the place and really throws you into an interconnected 80s universe. That there are some really cool and unique characters, and we really are trying to give them more and more backstory and dimension. So yeah, that's what it's about, this issue.
So how old were you when you got into comics?
The very first comic book I remember getting was I might have been 6 or 7. I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I really wanted a comic book. My parents were not into comic books, they had no real interest in them, and I kept asking for a comic book. And they wouldn't buy me one. And I remember I was taking swimming lessons I had at Conestoga Valley Pool, and I wouldn't dive off a diving board. And my mother said, if you do that, we'll buy you a comic book. And they got this 3-pack of Marvel books, and it was like a Hulk, a Captain America, and something else. And she put them in the closet. And I remember I wanted those books so bad, and I eventually jumped into the pool to get a comic book. And then the first book I remember buying was Gru the Wanderer #2 at the Walden Books at Park City on a big spinner rack inside the front door by Sergio Aragones. It was when Gru had gone to Epic. Yeah, and it was an amazing book. I think Gru the Wanderer is a great book. Issue 2 was an outstanding book. And that was the first book that I remember buying for like 75 cents. So that would have been about 82. Yeah.
So who's one of your favorite characters? Like as far as like out of any universe, what's your go-to character that you or storyline that you like? Is it the X-Men, or do you have a specific character that you absolutely like? This is what you collect.
Probably the one I've collected the longest and the most is Battle Angel Alita, which was a Viz book forever. I remember I saw a poster at a store that had it was called Broken Angel, and it had Yukito Kishiro's art, and it was Battle Angel on all fours, kind of crawling out of a scrapyard. Half her body was human, half was a machine, and it was watercolor. And that poster was so cool. I was like, I have to find out what that is. And I got Battle Angel, and I think at this point I probably have close to 38 volumes on a shelf. I've been buying it since '92, I think. And huge fan of Battle Angel, and her story is long. It's odd. It's very touching and very violent, and I've really grown to enjoy that character. And I'd say probably my second favorite is the Meta Baron, which was a French graphic novel by, or I shouldn't say French. It was from Humanoids, was the publisher that I read it through. Was Alexander Jodorowsky and Juan Jimenez. And Meta Baron is like a Shakespearean type action character. He's the most powerful warrior in the universe, and the books are gorgeous and they're great reads. So if you've never read Meta Barons, he's one of my favorite comic book
Yeah, I've
characters.
never even heard of that.
Juan Jimenez died of COVID last year. Straight up, might be the best comic book artist I've ever seen. Like, he's that good. So if you've never seen him, Russ, like, check out Meta Barons and Juan Jimenez. I mean, they're just superstars. So the weird origin of that book is Alexander Jodorowsky in the '70s was going to do the movie adaptation of Dune in like 1972, and they spent about $15 million to start the film, and they never made it. There's a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune that I have on Blu-ray. They talk about the film that never got made, and basically Meta Barons is his Dune stuff that he didn't use. So it's kind of a weird, because when you read it, it kind of reads a little like Dune. But Meta Barons, Jodorowsky, and Jimenez, and they're just beasts. And the book,
see, I like Doom, so I mean that might be right up my alley.
yeah. Afterwards, I'll shoot you a link for it. It'll knock you on your ass. Like Juan Jimenez, straight up, he's a fine artist that was doing comic books. So his stuff looks like things you would see painted on the ceiling of a church, but it's like guns and swords and cyborg girls, but spaceships and stuff. But Juan Jimenez was a beast. I've always been surprised that he wasn't more famous than he was. He didn't do a lot of U.S. property stuff, so I think he was limited in his stateside popularity because he wasn't doing things like Spider-Man or Wonder Woman. But yeah, I'll shoot you a link after the show. But straight up, man, Meta Baron, awesome. Battle Angel, awesome. And there's some, well, probably third favorite character, Kaneda from Akira. I think the Akira comics. We think about the movie a lot, but Akira's best. So Kaneda, I think he's a cool ass character, man. He's a cool teenage protagonist.
Yep. So when did you start creating? Like, did you always want to create comic books, or is this something that you were just kind of like one day I want to do this project?
So I remember in the 90s, I shopped at a store that was near my house, and the fellow that owned it, his name was Dan. He said, let's make a book. And I was in high school at the time, early 90s, and I just took big sheets of paper and big pens, and I drew an 8-page comic book, and I think it was called Captain Anarchy. Yeah, that's what it was called. And I remember I made that, and I was very excited to have done that. And then he never made the book. Um, but anyway, long story short, I'd never really touched back on it until about 10 years ago, when I was on a message board for Heavy Metal Magazine when they had their own message board for the book, and that's since been removed. Um, and at the time, there was a lot of talk they were going to shut the message board down, and a couple people were like, "Why don't we try to make stories and submit them?" Which I was like, "You know what? Let's do it. I want to make some comics." It had been in the back of my mind for a long time, and this was around 09, 2009, 2010. And so I linked up with a guy that did lettering and writing, and we did, over the next couple of years, we did two spec short stories. One was 5 pages, one was 12 or 13, and I submitted them to Heavy Metal. And I got kind of a, hey, we're not going to use them. Look, I don't know if they weren't good enough or they didn't like them. That's, it's editorial choice. I thought they were cool, and I remember thinking, hey, we've done enough work. Why don't we try to put them out on our own as opposed to waiting for someone to do it for us? And around 2011 is when Kickstarter started to become like a functioning tool. And I was aware of it through a friend. And so I put one of those short stories to raise a little bit of money on Kickstarter, and raised $1,000. That was 10 Kickstarters ago. And since then, this Lords of the Cosmos is the 11th book that I put together on there. 3 were art books, and then 8 were comic books. So I kind of hit a point early on where I realized that if I was waiting for other people to help my success, that I would be waiting a very long time. And I realized that I probably should have been trying to make comic books earlier, and I didn't. And I said, well, if I have the ability to print them professionally, and there's multiple high quality printing options to make comic books that are professional, and you can go to the people, and I would consider myself an early Kickstarter adopter, is that you now have the ability to say, well, as opposed to waiting for someone to grant me success, I'll grant my own success. And if the people want to come to me, they can. And I've raised, started at 1,000. This one's over, $6,400 now. So it's a gradual growth. So I mean, and there's been a lot of changes in Kickstarter over the years, and that's changed, but it's become much more mainstream and accepted than it was, whenever I started 9 years ago, dabbling with it. So yeah, so I've been knocking them out since then. Yeah.
That's awesome. So where did you derive your idea for Lords of the Cosmos?
So I remember I was doing a signing at a comic book store in New York for one of my earlier books. And I was looking at the new books that were on the shelf, and this was around 2014, 2015, I think 2015. And they had a new book from DC that was a Masters of the Universe He-Man title, and I bought it, and I brought it home, and I looked at it, and I remember I was really turned off by the book, because I think the Masters of the Universe are just an awesome set of characters. I think they're awesome designs, and the book just, to me, looked like trash. And I remember thinking at the time, I wish I could do something with Masters of the Universe in an official capacity, because I think it's so cool. And to me, the work on the book that I purchased was so poor, in my opinion, that it sucked. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know that I'll ever be allowed to work on, the Masters of the Universe property. But then you start to realize, well, it's really a genre. So it's like, if you like Westerns, there's a lot of great Westerns, but there's no law that says you can't make your own Western, right?
That's
If you
right.
you like science fiction, you can't tell Star Wars, but there's a million other ideas you could do. So the more I started thinking about it, was that I liked He-Man, but then I realized, well, I liked Thundar. I liked Flash Gordon. I like Black Star, some of those old weird 80s filmation type things, Thundercats, right?
Yeah.
A lot of shorts and heavy metal. So it started rattling through my head that, well, you can't do, He-Man and Skeletor, but why not make something that fits the genre? Well, at that time, I was at a client's house at work, and I was doing construction management at the time. And I was at this fellow's house. We were doing some work on his house. We had carpenters there. And he starts telling me about Robotech and how he's writing books. And his name was, ironically, Jason Palmatier, same first name. And he seemed like a really creative guy. And I said, maybe, you like the same stuff I do. You're writing. I'm like, well, I have this idea. You live in the same town, right? What if we, maybe teamed up and put something like this together? And he said, well, pitch me on it. So I pitched him a little bit of just kind of my general idea. And he said, I got another buddy, Dennis, that I'd like to bring into this. And Dennis does work for TV shows in Los Angeles. He writes scripts. And so we reached out. I spoke to Dennis, and Dennis is also really, really geeky and really into the 80s. And he said, I really like your idea. Let's try to shine this thing up. So the very first thing we did was we just thumbnailed out, like, I think it was 20 villains and 18 heroes, just this big inventory of people. And then I just took a couple months and I just did pinups of them in little groups, like 3 and 4. And then it was like we had 7 villain pinups and 6 hero pinups. And then we were like, well, so now we have all these characters. What now? And then it was probably the worst way in the world to put it together. But then we just started kind of like building pages around these pinups. And there's a bunch of them in issue 1, and the rest of them will be in issue 5, right? So the first issue is a little rough. It's kind of more expository in the main story because it was just like, hey, here's these pinups, and they're just kind of introducing who these people are. And then as we moved ahead and made 1 issue and then 2 issues, what came off right off the bat was we had so many ideas that I couldn't draw them all. So we started, even on issue 1, bringing in guest stars to say, well, hey, could you do this little 4-page, 5-page, 6-page? And the books right out of the chute were anthology books and not just Jason books, which was cool. And then the more we started working with these characters since 2016, when we put issue 1 out, that it started building and building and building more momentum, where, now there seems to be more and more of an established mythology as we brought in other writers and artists that they're adding to the bigger picture. We've gone into the past with the Lords of the Cosmos. At some point, maybe we'll go to the future. But we've built out more and more and more of this world. So at this point, we probably have close to, 160 pages of Lords of the Cosmos comics with all 4 issues, where as it's built and built and built, it becomes more lived in and better. So that was kind of the weird start to it. The current arc that I've been working on will probably go 7 issues to wrap it. And then I think we're going to keep going after that because it isn't dependent on any one person. It's an anthology modular format. It may be that I do less art and become more of an editor on the project and writing and bring in more artists. So that's kind of the start of it in a nutshell, to bring the 3 of us together, and we kind of birthed all these characters. And then a lot of the characters we just had no idea. We were just like, well, here's a character, and we don't know anything about them. And then part of building these issues is these characters kind of drop into the story, then we flesh them out with the backstories. So there was one character that was a plant living in a cybernetic body that we had no idea about, and then in issue 3, that character got a huge spotlight to understand what they were doing. So
yeah, I want to kind of show off some of the art for this. If nobody's seen the, I'm gonna give it the full screen. They can still hear us, so you can keep talking. But
so that's Mordanix. He's like the spokes monster for this issue. He has 4 big mechanical legs and 2 mechanical arms and 2 sort of human arms, and he gets a lot of press in this issue. Some good quotes there. We always love to get press quotes. So Russ, if you have a good quote, you'll have to put it in writing. We'll use it in issue 5.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was really cool. So this isn't just like an anthology of comics. You guys have like toy ads and pages in there. You got cartoon pages in there, and I seen you even offer like where you could like write in. You used to do in the comics, people would write in and say what they thought about something. And
can I tell you something terrible?
No
one's written a letter yet.
Well, I'm gonna write one for you then.
I'd love. We want letters because Joe, who did the art for Last of My Kind, is building a letters page that's wonderful, and we have no letters, and I'm about ready to cry.
Well, I can take care of that for you. I can make up some funny names and just
send us a letter, man. I love it. We'll print it.
But yeah, the artwork for this is awesome. I mean,
So that's my art. So that is in the main story where the villains have moved across the planet. The planet is called Aden, and the capital city is called Gemspire. And their creepy mechanical robotic monster forces are moving to the capital city because they want to destroy the capital, but more than that, they want to draw out the lords of the cosmos, who to this point have not looked real good in the book. They've mostly been in hiding and complaining. And there's some of the disciples of Umex right there, right? So there's Mordanix and some of the characters that are in his army. So this art is from Sasha Chiardo. This is from The Hunger. This is Mordanix's origin story. So the lady and gentleman at the top, that's Lady Vi. She is a backer of issue 4. Or issue 3 to be a character in issue 4, and that is Mordanix. He becomes the cyborg with the spider body. So we find out how he goes from handsome man to machine. And they're on the beach watching the Lords of the Cosmos send their mechanical monster amphibious assault team to attack their beach.
This is so
Well,
awesome. That's what's so great about this when you explain it. It's like everything's so over the top like it was in the 80s. I mean,
so that so think about this. If you remember G.I. Joe, they had that aircraft carrier toy. That turtle would be the aircraft carrier toy. It would be like the size of a couch.
That's awesome.
Right? So this is Last of My Kind by Joe Freistuhler. So this is the origin of our talking cat, or one of our talking cats, and then our biomechanical wizard. So they have to save each other because the rest of their groups have been wiped out by Umex, the leader of the villains. He's our archetypal Megatron, Skeletor, Doc Terror. Thank you, Stone. So that's a sweet little story. It's 6 pages, and because those two characters are in the main story because they're in the hero temple, and they're interacting with all the other heroes that are basically in hiding at this point. So this is Zach's art, Zach Bruner. So this is Aegis, our main hero. He's our He-Man, Optimus Prime character. He's the big Greco-Roman helmet there, and that's his magic sword. And the sword is imbued with intelligence, magic powers. And we don't really know everything it can do, but it's just like a super powered weapon of mass destruction, but it's a sword. And we learn through this issue that he has had a very strange relationship with this sword. And the sword, when we meet the sword in this issue, is not happy with where it is at. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil too much.
I love it. A talking sword.
It wants to kill. Yes. Now go ahead, Russ. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was just gonna laugh. It's gonna be like the car from Knight Rider. What?
Yeah. Well, if the car wanted to kill, right?
Yeah.
So I did 2 covers for the book, and I've kind of gotten into a style for these things where I do 2 covers where I do a hero and a villain, but they're all kind of, I don't know, kind of stark, where it's just a character or 2 on kind of a black background with a little star field at the bottom. So that's Mordanix. He's kind of the featured hero or villain of the book, right? And he dissolves bodies for nutrients. So you see some dead bodies there floating in the tank, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's creepy. And then, so this is kind of our wizard and his talking eagle and his talking cat, right? Avitus is the bird, Tiedmus and Phalanx. And so that's our featured heroes page heroes cover that I did. So this next cover is by an artist that does digital painting named Alex J. Alex is from London. I'm a huge fan of Alex's work. And so Alex took some of our notes from Hunger and then did a fully digital painting of the beach assault from Hunger, where we actually got the design for the crocodiles that the Sasha did on his page. Alex is smart, super creative, has the werewolves and the mechs. And the real crazy thing that Alex came up with, because I described one in Creatures, because you think about Saving Private Ryan, they have those rectangular troop transports that get in the beach and they drop the front door, right?
Yeah.
Well, I said, well, we don't want to do that because it's Lords of the Cosmos, so we got to make it funky. I'm like, maybe there's boxes on top of a creature. So Alex designed these crocodiles and then had the people running out of their mouths. And I was like, well, wow, they're running out of the mouths, and that just seems a little too crazy. And Alex said, no, you said this had to be crazy. Like they're
You
running.
told me it had to be crazy. You didn't say it couldn't be. There was such thing as too much crazy.
I said, I said, damn, you're right. You're right. So, and you see, there's a guy that's kind of like a military guy on a little floating board. That's a backer. His name's Mark, and he is a skater in real life and does skateboarding. And he is in the book as Turbo, one of the heroes that has a flying board and clubs people and smashes into people. So that's one of the backers. But man, there's all kinds of weird stuff. And then Alex came up with the bats, and that's just killer, man. It's a badass cover.
Well, I love the freaking werewolves. That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, are those werewolves? But you already answered that for me. And then, of course, you've got your couch-sized turtle back here.
Yeah, he's shelling the beach, right? If you look on the far right, there's like a ghost.
Yeah.
There's like a ghost. There's like a mech. I mean, it's just Alex is so damn creative, man. Like that when they put that piece together, it was just like that's Lords of the Cosmos, and then the guy in the middle is Aegis, the main hero, the guy with the Greek helmet. So it's like you got this Superman, He-Man type roaming up the beach with his killer sword, right?
Yeah.
So the next cover is kind of a flashback moment that we hint at in this book where we reveal that Aegis had a brother and they were like comrades in arms. And then this character is called Myrmidon with the pitchfork. And Umex is our main villain, and Umex's signature weapon is Umex's left arm ends in 3 tentacles that he uses to destroy things and kill people. And we reveal what happened with Myrmidon and Umex when they went mano a mano. No spoilers, but Matt Triano did that cover. Matt is a just absurdly talented classic comic book artist. He was a joy to deal with. He interviewed me about the book to determine what he wanted to draw, and he said this was the moment. And he did this really intense, first person POV of the tentacles going right at Myrmidon. And Myrmidon and Umex, they have a great clash.
That's awesome.
So this is the retro cover, right? Now, Joe Frystore, right? He did this, and he really wanted to go old-time Marvel DC. And if you look at this cover, it's absurd. There's actually, like, stress wrinkles on the left side from, like, Staples.
Yeah. Right
if you
there.
scroll up, he did it like old-school Marvel, right? With the Ugly Comics group, because we call ourselves Ugly Studios. We've been doing that since my first book. And the comics code and the distressed wrinkles and the coloring. And Joe really captured that 80s Marvel look, in my opinion. I just think that's a bang-up cover.
I agree, Jack.
Is there such a thing as being too crazy, Jack? I don't know. I said we were being too crazy, and I got vetoed by Alex. So,
well, I mean, when you think that the level of crazy couldn't get any crazier, I mean, you just see like the amount of insanity going on this cover right here between the robots and everything.
So this piece, I love prowling different artists on social media, and this is an artist that I saw Matt King promoting on Facebook, and I reached out to this fella. His name is Willem, and Willem is from Russia, I believe the Ukraine to be precise. And Willem's art is all black and white. It's all an absurd amount of detail, and it's very much like, oh my goodness, I can't think of the guy that did Rusty and the Boy Robot. I can't think of the guy's name. Hoop. He did work with Frank Miller too. Hard Boiled. Jeff Darrow. And Willem's work looks like Jeff Darrow. And I said, I'd like you to do your version of Mordantics. And he said, what does Mordantics do? And I said, Mordantics takes people and he dissolves them in a big tank that his body's built around. And Willem took that to the extreme, and I love it. It's look, we made character models for all the characters, and this definitely doesn't fit it 100%, but it doesn't matter because Willem is an artist, and he just took this to a place that he took our character, and we were just like, damn.
He was evil, but not that evil. But now he's
he's something like that. That's him super powered. I mean, like it's just he did that, and it just was. It And here's the thing. I have that original art for like 175. No one picked it up yet. I'm a little shocked about that. I would have figured that would have gone.
And then you got the talking sword.
Yeah, and I just put that up the other day. I forgot that wasn't in the campaign. So that's $100. I did that. It's just $100 original piece of art as a splash page, but that's in the book. Yeah. Now the next little page here is a lady that is a really talented traditional artist. We all call her Mama Semeni. Real name is Jane Baker. And that is the inside cover for the sketch cover, because we normally put toy art on the front, on the back cover and the inside back cover, but the sketch cover is white wraparound. So this is the black and white art on the sketch cover, inside back cover. The original art of that is sold through the Kickstarter, so that's gone.
Very cool.
And we just put our new stretch goal for 7,000. So my buddy Ariel Celestino, who's a really trippy 70s heavy metal Jack Kirby disciple. The guy's killer. He designed all of our marketing pieces. If we, yeah, it's craziness. If we hit 7,000, Ariel's going to make a print for everybody that gets a book. Maybe we'll make it into another cover. I don't know, but if we get another 500 change, Ariel goes to work, and there's going to be more Lords of the Cosmos 4 art from Ariel, and he is ridiculously talented. So it's exciting.
So how long have you been drawing?
So I remember drawing back when I was a child. When I was in kindergarten, the fellow who was my kindergarten teacher reached out to my mother and said that I needed instruction outside of school. And my mom had no idea what that meant. And he gave my mother a business card for a woman that was a professional artist in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, named Elaine Renna. And I was taken to Elaine's studio as a kindergartner that I was told to get professional training. And she said, "We're not going to do this." And so I was sent back. And then the fellow who was the art teacher, Bruce Richter, called her back and said, "No, I really would like you to spend some time with Jason." So I was sent back, and I was spent the afternoon at the studio. And when my mother came to get me, they said, and some of this I'm remembering, some of this through my mom telling me what happened, is that they said, "We want Jason to be here every week." And then for the next 12 or 13 years, I was there every week for an hour or two, taking private lessons. And then in 1992, I was at a scholarship program for gifted kids in the arts called Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Arts, which is now no longer in existence. It was a state program that was run from 1972 to 2009 in Pennsylvania for gifted artists. I did that. I went to college for business, so I got a BSBA in marketing, and then I did art for a couple years after school, and then I quit. And then it was kind of getting back into comics a couple years after that kind of got me spurred back into it. So that was kind of my art training experience. It's kind of like a lifelong thing with some gaps.
Yeah, I can just imagine you going throughout your day, and then like all of a sudden, there's like Post-it notes all over the house of all these crazy Lords of the Cosmos characters that you just come up off the spur of the moment.
I keep my legal tablet just to write things down, because inspiration is where you get it. I mean, one of the really exciting things about Lords of the Cosmos 4 on Kickstarter is that there was a writer named Liam. And he's in a group I'm in for people that do anthology comics. And Liam said, "Man, this is really cool. I just backed your book. If you ever want, I'd love to work on the book." And I said, "Well, okay, you're right, And he said, "I'd love to." So I just dropped him one of the characters that we don't really know much about. Just said, "Here's a kind of a stub." I was like, "Why don't you put something short together for a future book?" And Liam last week sent me a script that was awesome. We sent him some edits, and he's working on cleaning it up, but he's gonna do a 7-page story for us that's outstanding, with a character that he really took that character to a really cool place, and it was really exciting. I sent him the books to read as PDFs to get him up to speed, and the script that he wrote was so cool because he was calling out the other issues in his script, like things that happened, and I was like, "God damn it!" I was like, "This guy's reading the books, putting it together," and like when I'm reading this, I'm like, "This is a really cool story in our universe." but it was so crazy to get that from somebody else that just kind of came to us because of a Kickstarter, just saying this is really cool, I'm into it. So I mean, what's really exciting is when the property gets other creatives like stirred up to make stuff that's really good, and then to bring it to you and you're just like, damn, I gotta make sure I pay you some money too, because this is really sweet, you know. uh, but yeah, no, there's all those ideas churning in my head, and there's other ideas in Dennis and Jason's head. And like I said, in the case of Liam, well, Liam came to us off the virtual street with a pretty damn good set of ideas too. So it's a fun property in that, you know, people have ideas and they want to be involved. We're very open to saying, okay, like, you know, bring something small to the table. Let's see how it goes. You know, whether you're an artist or a writer, there's always, we'd rather have more people involved than less.
Jack said you got to be SBA in marketing, so you can say a lot of bullshit to people all the time. Is that what that
Well,
means?
well, so Bill Hicks, the late great comedian, rest in peace, Bill Hicks. I think he said about people with marketing. He said, if you're in marketing, go take a gun and shoot yourself in the head. And I'm not joking. No, seriously, go shoot yourself, kill yourself, hang yourself, because he hated people in marketing. And even though I have a degree in marketing, there are times I think Bill, he knew more than I did. Marketing people can get really annoying. So can I. But yeah, go kill yourself if you're in marketing. Seriously, go kill yourself.
And Trish mentioned this earlier, but I didn't want to stop you when we were
Yeah.
talking about it. So she said the conversation we had the other night, you should bring up to Russ about digital, because that was a great conversation.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this to you, Rush. Thank you, Trish. So, um, I'm gonna bring this up to you, with no opinion or commentary, just a set of facts, and I'm curious what you think. So, a coworker of mine, and his name is John Mamula, and he's my money man. This dude, he will make you money if you listen to him. He tipped me off to Bitcoin a while ago, and I've actually made money off of like all of his cryptocurrency shit. Like he's like, do this, do that, stock picks, cryptocurrency. The guy's smart, so I call him Money Man. And recently, he said, "Hey, I have a question." And I was like, "What's your question, Money Man?" And he said, "You know, your comic book art." He said, "Do people buy digital art from you?" And I'm like, "Well, they'll buy a PDF from a book, you know." And you know, he goes, no, like original art. And I'm like, no. And then I gave him a couple examples when I've been at conventions where, you know, people have talked about popular comics that are done digitally, so they have no original art to sell. And he said, well, I've been buying and selling digital trading cards on NBA Top Shot. And he goes, I think you'll hit a day when people will buy digital tokenized art from you. And I said, dude, I said, I don't see it. Cause I said, I don't see it. So I've been asking around about, is anybody seeing this anywhere? And he keeps telling me, he said, dude, the NBA is pushing these digital trading cards and it's going to become a thing. And honestly, I don't see it anywhere in the comic book community. I
I don't
don't.
either. I mean, well,
Okay.
there's issues to it too. So you're gonna have people that are gonna like hack, the trading cards and then sell like fake. I mean, I guess you can't really call something counterfeit that really
I,
doesn't exist. But
I,
well, here's the thing. It makes sense on a standpoint because everybody consumes digital
digital.
media.
Yeah.
Now you can stream games without owning a system. Now you can stream movies without having a Blu-ray player or a VCR or any of that nonsense. There's less clutter. You don't have all these movies on shelves. You don't have all these books on shelves. And I mean, I get the point with trading cards because, you can get some 3-ring binders and put some sleeves in there. And, you got the mall and pages and it takes up room. But I like having stuff that you can hold, that's tangible, stuff like this.
You know, here's the thing. He's my money man, and this guy's always right about stuff. So on the one hand, I'm like, I don't get it, but then I'm like, but and this guy, he's right. He's right about all these things, and I'm like, in 20 years, are we going to turn around and be like, no, I'm selling digital original pages on Kickstarter, and we're going to be like, what?
Yeah. We'll
I
see.
don't see it, but
We're old school. Here's the problem. We're old school. We
uh-huh.
don't consume that. We still collect books. We still collect movies. I refuse to buy digital movies. Can you believe I still to this day have never bought a digital movie ever? Like
I bought two. Yeah, two. That's it.
and that's probably because of the COVID thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the only reason why, because you couldn't go out and you couldn't buy a movie and you wanted to see it, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna buckle down, I'm gonna do this. But see, I don't like doing that. So like, so I'll use this as an example. So like, you got the PlayStation 3. When it first came out, it was backwards compatible with the PlayStation 2. Well, then a year and a half down the road, PlayStation goes, no, we're not going to allow this anymore. They apply a software update, and you can no longer play backwards compatibility. And they took away the fact that you could run your own uh, homebrew software on there. You could run Linux or anything like that. You could run your own operating system on the PlayStation 3 and do whatever you wanted to when you first bought it. Well, then a year and a half later, they're like, nope, you can't do that anymore. They patched it and they took all that stuff away. I don't like digital media. I don't like the fact of somebody saying, I own the rights to this movie or this game or this comic or this art that you bought. Because at any time, if that company goes belly side up and somebody doesn't buy up the proprietary licenses to that stuff, those servers get shut down. Where did all your digital media go? I mean, you got like Ultraviolet, I think was one of the ones that got shut down. And so like almost all the movies that were Ultraviolet, if you didn't transfer them within this amount of time, they were gone for good. That's the only thing that scares me about digital media. But I'm old school. I like physical, tangible stuff. Like my wife's like, I don't understand you sometimes. We don't really have room for the stuff, and yet you buy physical copies of stuff. And I'm like, because it's always mine. You cannot take this away from me unless you come in my house and shoot me dead and take it.
I remember being in either New York or Baltimore, and I remember there were two collectors talking about Saga. And one of them said, I really want to buy some original pages from the book from, I think it's Becky Cloonan. And the other guy said, you can't, they're all digital. And he was like, ah, shit, And I remember he said, boy, she's really missing out on a lot of money, because if she had original pages, we really like that book, it would sell. And that's kind of where I go back to my money man saying, hey, do you see digital comic book stuff selling? Now, here's the thing, like, he's into this thing called NBA Top Shots, where they're selling like videos and digital trading cards. He told me the other day there was a queue with like thousands of people trying to buy packs of digital cards, and I was like, what the shit? So on the one hand, I don't buy into it, but then on the other hand, I'm like, but there is something going on.
Yeah. Well, and it may just be a fad. I mean, so
Could
with all
be.
the factories and stuff being shut down, trading card companies probably were shut down for forever. So people, unless you
Mm-hmm.
bought something that's existed previously that you're like, oh, I want to collect these garbage pail kids from 20 years ago, and then you find them on eBay. Like, you can't. There really wasn't a whole lot of influx of new stuff being printed because a lot of the printing places were shut down. So
Yeah.
maybe it led to this influx of digital, but will it last? I mean,
So
that's
I think, to me, where I take of it is I'm listening, because
yeah,
I'm telling you, this cat John, he's tipped me off to all these stocks and cryptocurrency. Everything he says works, and then he says this, and I'm like, it doesn't sound right to me. But again, maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, that conversation with Saga, I don't know, maybe it will. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't get into it, but it's a discussion. Like, is it going to be a thing? Who knows? I don't know.
well, I
I
mean,
don't.
here's my thing. So, I mean, yeah, I can understand the concept because a lot of creators are using digital content. I mean, like this here, this is a digital piece. I don't have an original to it. Doesn't mean it's not awesome, but I could sell this to somebody and be like, "Oh, this is the original art. It's yours now," and then turn around and sell it to somebody else. And these two people will never meet each other, and they both have the original art. So you
Yeah.
can't really guarantee that if you buy this art that you are the sole proprietor of that property, because somebody
The
could
the
just go out there
show
and
the show I want to have is Trish and her husband and my buddy John, the Money Man, and that's the show I'm gonna watch, because I want to hear them talk about digital token collectibles. I mean, oh my god, it's just, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, look at Pokemon trading cards. Pokemon is huge.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I grew up in the era where we played Pokemon cards and stuff. When I was like in I think 8th grade is when they started really coming out, something like that.
Mhm.
And I don't ever see Niantic moving to that kind of a digital platform with those cards because I mean you can't really. There's really no way to trade. Like I don't know. I don't know how you could trade a card code to another person.
I,
Basically, what I'm saying is somebody will hack the system, rip off every single card, copy it, and just start selling them to people, and no one will know the difference. And
uh,
you can't hold it. You can't hold it in your hand like this.
um, I, hey,
I'm
Trish
too old
wanted me to
school.
bring it up. That's my money man speech, man. John the money man. John Manuel, money man.
Yeah, and Trish wanted you to bring it up. That's all she has to
No,
say.
she wanted to bring it.
No.
She's like, no, no. But it's an interesting thought. But until someone buys those original Saga pages that are digital files, like I said, maybe the comic book world is different than the sport trading card world. I don't know. Maybe it's totally different.
Yeah, and I mean, so I mean, for example, let's see if I have it still loaded in here. I mean, David Fott did an awesome digital piece for me, and I love it. But I have the pencils to it, and I have the inks to it. So I
Mhm.
have the original that was scanned in and used to make the digital copy of it. And I mean that's I don't know. I still have something physical, and like Eve did a digital piece for me, and she sent me the pencils of like her. So like where is it? I know it's good. So like here's Eve's. You know, she sent me the pencils for this piece. And so like even though this is a digital piece, I still have the pencils for it. And then here it is. Here's David's piece. So here's David Fott's piece. What that is? Why in the hell?
It's a leg.
Yeah, it's a leg. That for some reason StreamYard's been doing some crazy shit where I have the clicker on one thing and it clicks on things three that's not even on the page. Don't know. But so this is David Fott's piece, and I love it. It's great, and but I still have the pencils for it. And that's what I like to see. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I love pencils. Like when you were showing me that page that you said still available, and I'm like, what? That's still available? Um, that's insane. I don't see art ever moving to that. I mean, that's like saying, "Hey, do you want to buy my digital Mona Lisa?" It's like
I think
if your hard drive crashes, guess what? Your digital Mona Lisa's gone forever.
it's weird. The only thing I'll say is this: is that one of the tricks to investing, and if we want to talk about that for a minute, is sometimes where you get big gains is going to weird places. Now, you can lose your ass because it may be that it goes nowhere. But I think that's one of the tricks to find things. So again, all I can say with digital art is I don't see it. Me personally, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Like that from the coffee. Yeah, yeah. I'm never going to say never because it could be that things change that I can't imagine. And it'll be younger people. It'll be my kids that were on being like, hey, before the show, right? Um,
Well, and here's what proves to you that I'm super old school. So like artists were blown away when I was like, "Hey, I want a piece for my book," and they're like, oh, "Okay, you want a digital piece?" And I'm like, "No, I want a traditional piece." And they're like, "What? For a book? You want a traditional piece?" And I'm like, "Yeah." When you scan in, this I love it. It's got the human flaw in it. I think digital art is too perfect. I mean, if you're going to get down to the nitty gritty of my heart and soul, I love the flaws of the human interaction of marker to paper as opposed to like digital. It's like not that I don't like this piece, it's too clean. Like there's really nothing that you can say, oh well, you can see where the artist made a little bit of a boo-boo here. There's none of that. It's just like, oh, it's digital, and it's great. I don't mind digital art to a point. I just really like having, like, I have this piece and it looks great scanned in, but there's also an original, you know and it's not going to get lost on a hard drive. I tell you what, I've had too many computers crash over the years. I built this badass gaming computer, and it was top of the line, and I had all this stuff, and I had a RAID array, and I lost 2 hard drives in the RAID array, and it fried everything. I lost like probably 3 terabytes worth of stuff, and it's like gone forever. Like I tried recovering it. The ghost drives were just it was done. It was done and over with. And
Hey, I mean, here's the thing, man. I'm with you. I mean, I said, Trish, I hope you enjoyed me talking about digital stuff. Please, I'm waiting to catch a sniff of it in the real world where a Jim Lee or a Becky Cloonan says, "Hey, I have a digital," and someone pays them like $8,000 for it. Then we're all going to be like, "Didn't Jason say that on Russ's show?"
yeah, we're gonna go back on this in like 10 years, and it's gonna be like uh, Apple stock, where people are like, "Oh no, I don't believe
Yeah,
this." And
I got a Jim Lee digital. It is the first digital print. It cost $10,000. Now it's worth $1 million. I mean, hey, I'm gonna tell you something. This is where Money Man, when we were locked down on COVID, real quick, then we'll get back to comic book stuff. My money man John, he was like, "You need to buy Bitcoin." This was like back in like April and May, and I was like, "I don't know, I don't believe it. I don't believe in it." So he's like, "You gotta do it." So I went and bought some. Shit, dude. Like Bitcoin in the last 2 weeks has just been stupid. So that's why I'm like, but Money Man says stuff. So I listened to Money Man because I didn't believe in cryptocurrency for shit. Now I'm
yeah,
like it's made me a ton of money because I just listened to this guy that he was telling me stuff that made me uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, you keep asking me and telling me I'll do it, I'll do it.
well,
And
that's
I
like
did
somebody that 10 years ago they got $10 of Bitcoin gifted to them, and now it's worth $54,000 from 5 years
it.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't even understand Bitcoin. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even
Well,
going to try to
yeah, no, this
understand
isn't
it.
a Bitcoin show, and that would get really boring. But so we're going to keep our ears open. So when I'm on your show again, we'll have as a digital update for Trish and say, have either of us heard of anyone selling a digital original? I mean, that's the question.
And I mean, if you want to be honest, like if you ask an artist for their portfolio, I mean, technically when they send you their portfolio, then it's digital. So
Hmm? But are you paying for that? That's the thing.
yeah, that's the
Let's talk
thing.
comics. This is depressing talking about digital stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're talking about investing and stuff like that.
Talk about the price of stocks.
Yeah. Sell, sell, sell.
Buy, sell.
But to end the whole investing thing, it was quite hilarious. The whole GameStop kerfluffle.
You know, here's the thing. It was a lot of people that I don't think understood what they were getting into because they don't, and they were up. I read about some kid that had money and it like went up from like 8 grand to 50 grand and he didn't sell and then it went back to like two. And then he was like, "Whoa, I lost all this money." It's like, dude, you're playing long shots. Take your winnings. But
Yeah,
people that don't understand it, and I felt bad because I saw a lot of people that got hurt that really couldn't afford it, and I was just like, "Ooh, what are you doing? Stop! Don't do that. It hurt me." But enough. No
craziness.
more. No more stock talk. This is
Yeah,
let's
no
talk
more stock talk. No more stock talk.
comic book talk. More comics. Let's
So
talk.
that's cool. So your art teacher actually said, "Hey, your son needs to go to an art school."
Yeah. So when I would spend time at Elaine's studio, I would just sit at a desk and she would give me work to do, and I would just draw, and then she would give me instruction. It was like a lot of kids, did music. Play a trumpet. I went and just drew things. So I would just draw still lives and fantasy thoughts and
Well, it's just
things.
insane to me that a teacher would say that about a kindergartner. That just blows my mind. The teacher would be like, "Hey, you need this kindergartner in your art school."
Yeah, no, hey, thanks, Bruce. You helped me out. I mean, Bruce, Mr. Richter had it, and he saw more about me maybe than I did, as a little kid. I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
the heck
really
I saw
cool.
myself. And here's the thing: he's being a good teacher. That's what he was doing.
No, it's awesome. I think it is awesome. I mean, it's just insane that he's seen the talent in you, in kindergarten. You're like, 5 years old, and here you are. This teacher's like, you need to take your son to the special school over there, and it's like, well, what do you mean by special? And here you are, you're in this high end art class, studio style thing, and you got this teacher that's not used to teaching kindergartners. It's like, no, I don't want to do this, and he's like, no, I insist. You take him on, and it's really cool for a teacher to step up and say, hey, no, you need to do this. You need to push this kid hard, and here you are, all 40 years later, and you're on your 11th project on for Kickstarter, not 11th book, just 11th project. You said there was three art books in there. But
Yeah, no, I produced art books for my art, like kind of like, behind the scenes, and they were interesting projects. I don't know if I'd do one again, but I did three of them. They were like actual books. So I mean, like,
get out of here with that, Jack. Boo, boo that man.
well, Jack is kind of on Moneyman's side there. He'll appreciate that. I'll send him this link. I taught when I did send him the link, and he actually little cue in for Trish. It was interesting. He said, "Boy, that one person really bashed my digital art opinions, Jason." And I was like, "Yeah, she kind of did." So agreeing with Moneyman John, I love it. But man, Russ, what other comic book weird geeky questions can I answer for you?
I don't know. That pretty much covers the basis of geekiness. I do love the book though. I absolutely because so Trish was like, "Hey, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Leno?"
So that's a great question. It comes in two parts. So I don't know that there's a correct one. However, what I've noticed is that serious people like doctors, lawyers, professional people will say Mr. Lennox, Mr. Lennox. However, my friends, right, the people that I would have a beer with, they're Lennox, what's up, Lennox, Lennox. So it's kind of like there's the Mr. Lennox, could we see your spreadsheet, please? Versus, yo, Lennox, get me a beer. So I think if you're like my friend, you would say Lennox. And if you're, an accountant or, serious, Mr. Lennox, could we,
So I'm just trying to be like Mister like Goody Two Shoes over here with my Leno. I'm like French or
well, I
something.
know it would be like French, right? But we're a
Yeah.
bunch of Scots, right? So I did, I did a satanic bagpiper with my Scottish tartan, which is fun. So I sell those occasionally on my Etsy store. So, but yeah, so no, you can call me whatever you want. I'll be honest, man. One thing that does drive me crazy is that, I'll never forget this. I was at a comic book show and there was a young lady that said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I said, "Hey," and I said what I thought was her name, but it was similar. It was like Kim or Kate or something like that. And she ripped my ass. She goes, "No, that's not my name. You said my name wrong." And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to be friendly, like if someone's coming up to you and they don't call you Russell and they call you Rick and they hug you and give you $20 to buy something, what are you gonna do? Scold them? It's like, hey man, don't worry. I mean, it's kind of like I. The last thing I want to do is start saying, "Well, you mispronounced my name. It's Lennox, not Lennox." It's like, yeah, dude, people are being friendly. Roll with the times, man.
Wait, what was that? Shrek?
I don't remember.
I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm just happy enough that people are excited to see me or talk to me. So the last thing I want to do is start being like, let me scold you about how I pronounce my. I don't even know how we're supposed to pronounce it. But
All
like I
right,
said,
but yeah. Anyway, so Trish was like, "Hey, I got this guy Jason
yeah,
Lenox that is this comic book project going on," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, because it's insane. I try to get people to come on, and
mhm,
sometimes you get this huge spurt of like you have 100 people that want to get on, and then there's like a month or 2 months where like you're like, hey, do you want to be on my show? Oh, I'll think about it. And it's like, okay. And then like the next week they're beating down your door again. And it's like so back and forth. So I was like, hey, do you know anybody? And so she sent I don't remember if Mike sent it to me or Trish sent it to me, the
mhm,
link to the Kickstarter. And so I opened it up and I was like, okay, Lords of the Cosmos, what's this about? And I scrolled down. I remember just seeing that first picture of the biomechanical spider with the acid tank, and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. Because like back when I was a kid, KB Toys was the jam. They
mhm,
don't exist anymore.
nope,
But KB Toys had the coolest shit ever. They had these action figures that had like these slime tanks that you put inside them, and it was like their superpowers. And it was
mm,
kind of like He-Man, and it's kind of like a cross between He-Man and like your project. It's like right down the
nice.
middle. And I was like, I'm gonna collect these. And
Uh,
my parents growing up, they didn't have like a lot of money when I
yeah,
was growing up. So like KB Toys was my jam because they always had this super sweet 80-90% off bin. They had
nice.
some really cool shit and it just didn't sell anymore. And so that's when I got all these cool ass characters. I had like 50 of them. They were awesome. They like mutated and stuff like that. And so like when I seen that, I was a kid again. I was at KB Toys and I was seeing
We,
that for the
we hit you
first
in the
time.
feels. We hit you in the
Yeah.
feels, right?
No, it's freaking awesome. And then it took me forward a little bit, back to like well, not back, but forward to like the late '90s when StarCraft came out, and I was playing StarCraft, and you had all these biomechanical organisms, and they were attacking each other, and something like the acid pool where it dissolved the bodies. I know it's sad. Toys R Us was never a big thing for me because oh my god, they're excuse me, their prices were ridiculous. So like I was never getting anything from there. But yeah, KB Toys, man, and I'll never forget here in up a couple towns up where my grandparents live in Warrenton. They had this little strip mall, and it was like KB Toys, and then Bugle Boy was next door to it. So we would go get clothes for school, and then go toy shopping.
Now,
But
Russell,
that
where are you from in this country of ours?
Missouri,
Okay, I don't know much about Missouri, to be honest with you.
it's a flyover state, as Steph Wilson says.
Yeah, no, I live in the very center of Pennsylvania, where we live a lot like Alabama. It's
Yeah,
very rural. Don't know much about Missouri. Don't know much about that part of the world. Welcome, Missouri.
yeah, I'm smack dab in the middle of Kansas City and St. Louis, pretty much. I mean, Kansas City's like 3 hours away. No, it's not even that far. It's about 2 hours away, and then St. Louis is an hour from my house. So I
Yeah,
kind
so
of like live smack dab in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we do live like 20 minutes from Six Flags in St. Louis. Well, Six Flags St. Louis, which is in Eureka,
okay.
but yeah, no, I mean, I loved it when I was scrolling through. I was like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!" And it was like took me back to my childhood, and I love it. We need more stuff like that because everything's gotten
Great.
so insane and so recycled, and like people just keep remaking the same things over and over, and they don't want to do something original and go back to the old way. Like I said earlier, it's over the top. That's how the '80s were. Everything was over the top. Now, when you get a toy, it's not over the top. The toy, it's over the top of you open up the directions and it's like 57 pages of do not put this toy in your mouth. Do not leave this toy in direct sunlight. There's like all these do nots.
I mean, I would be the first person to say we took a huge inspiration from Masters of the Universe. When we were putting Lords together, we literally got a thesaurus out and wrote Masters of the Universe and then said Lords Cosmos, just scratched it out. That was where we came up with the name, just to say we want to make it different. So I'd be the first person to say we took a huge cue from that. However, to me, we are not. It isn't like we've just redone it.
No.
You can feel the DNA, but to me, it's like a Western where it's like I like a fistful of dollars, but you can watch Unforgiven and say, I kind of feel it, but Unforgiven, fistful of dollars, not the same film.
No.
And so you don't want to copy, but to take inspiration from is different. So I mean, for sure, like we take a huge cue from the Thunder, Masters of the Universe, Black Star, et cetera, all those things. And dude, if it's hitting you in the feels like that, then we've done our job because, we want to make a high quality product. But if the high quality product touches the reader in a way that affects them in a positive, emotional way, then hey, then we did our job, right? That's the whole point. Oh, thank you, Trish. But yeah, no, it's just fun, and I'm like a big kid. I mean, I got kids, but I'm like a big kid, and you get me going. One of the things I miss about conventions is like I would get a pack of people around me with these books and start talking about this stuff, and then people could get me going. Like, oh man, let's get Jason going about these books, and these characters, and I'll get going. Which is one of the reasons I enjoy doing the podcast, promoting the book, is just to get going about it and to get your energy rush. Be like, yeah, I love this book. Like, yeah, hell yeah, like good, that's exciting, man. And we've kept a lot of the book away from people because we don't want you to see it. I want you to get the book and be able to get as much surprise as you can. I don't want to show you all the pic, so I want you to
Yeah.
get it and be like, yes, like
You're going to get a taste of it. It's going to be like at the end of each episode when you would get that little taste of next time on,
yes.
and you get that little taste, and you'd be like, wait a minute, what's going to happen? And then you had that suspense.
And what I really want is to come back on all these podcasts after you've read the book, and I want to get you to tell me, dude, I read the book. Now I want to ask you more questions about it because now I read it. I'm like, okay,
Hey, we can do that.
Ask me questions.
Oh, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
And that's and that's what I always say about creating. Like with this book that I'm getting ready to launch next week. I can't wait to do that, to talk to people, see what they think about the book, have them ask questions about the world. What do you want to know more about? And what did I kind of gloss over that really is important to you, that you really need to know this? What blanks do you need me to fill in? Or what did you like the most? What did you like the least? Or, just to get talking about stuff. It's exciting. It's exciting for people to be interested in the world that you create.
I mean, one of the best pop culture questions I have to this day is I think The French Connection is one of the best movies ever made. Did you ever see The French Connection?
I don't know if I have or not.
It's a Best Picture Academy Award from the 70s. It has, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name. Lex Luthor from the original Superman. Gene Hackman is the main character. He plays a guy called Popeye Doyle. And the ending is crazy and it's very ambiguous. And I would love to talk to William Friedkin and just say, and I'm sure he's been asked a million times, like, well, what really happens at the end? Because it's very confusing. And it's a very well known, excellent film. Oh my goodness. I want a Russell live reading of Lords of the Cosmos. Shit, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
did a live reading of I launched my book last year and I did a live reading of it. And then, I guess it was this past Saturday, I did a live reading of Into the Suck. I had a little bit of technical difficulties.
mhm.
For some reason, full screen, I couldn't read the words on mine. And so I'm like, like this all the way down on the computer, like, what the hell does that say? And so I'm like, all right, hold on, guys. I had to take this out of full screen. And then you couldn't see the whole page on there, but we figured it out. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would totally do a live reading, but of course,
Sure.
not without your permission.
No, sure. Hey, I want to be on this. I'm going to listen. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I love Iron Maiden, and I love their artwork on the original 8 albums or 7 albums that Derek Riggs did. And Derek, a couple of years ago, put out a book about his career, and he talked about doing all these things for Iron Maiden and how and it was so crazy to read his creative and personal journey with Iron Maiden. Where, spoiler, he doesn't like Iron Maiden. And his hatred for them is in their book or in the book. And you're like, holy shit, I think of this guy as the Iron Maiden guy. And he's like, fuck Iron Maiden. And like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, it's so fun to ask creators and hey, get the book, read it. And I want your questions. Like, okay, Jason, I read all these books. Now I got questions. Like, awesome, man. I want to answer all those random, like, well, will we see more of this character? Like, maybe. Like, or why did
Maybe.
this guy do this? And right now, so we're working on issue 5 and 6, and we have 6 short stories being done right now in various stages of writing and art. And then I'm working on all the art for issue 5, and I got to start working on issue 6 when issue 5's wrapped. So, yeah, it's we've got a lot going on after issue 4. But right now, I got to focus on the Kickstarter. Then I got to focus on getting the book out.
Oh no, I get it.
you
And
know,
and that,
and then it's back to we must work on new stuff to get it done for issue 5. So I mean, we love Lords, and it's about keeping it going. So I mean, like I said, issue 4 is the big thing, but spoiler, issue 5 and 6 are being worked on now.
yeah, and that's the thing too. That's the fun part about talking with people about your creative endeavors, is because they may open up something that you never thought of. Like the person that reached out to you that said, "Hey, I read this, I love it. I would love to write something for you." And then you get it and you're like, "Holy shit, this is awesome. This is like a great script. Some things need some edits and some polishing, but overall this is fucking phenomenal." And
Hey,
then
go ahead.
and
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. And then, you get that other thing where somebody says, "Hey, I really love the story. And I really love where it went, but you kind of glossed over this. Does this happen? Does this happen?" And then you're like, "Wait a minute. I did skip a major section of this character. We can do a spin-off series on this. We can ask around and see if people are interested in finding out more about this character. We can do more of a backstory and do a spin-off." So, I mean, it helps open up your creative outlets for stuff to do with the book instead of continuing the series. You can do spin-offs on the characters that people really care about.
I did one of these podcasts, and I think it was Indie Volt, and I think it was the episode where I met Trish on, and one of the people said, "Well, you have these really cool logos. Why don't you make them into enamel pins?" And I was just like, so yesterday, I did reach out to a pin manufacturer. We're probably going to put pins as an add-on for the Kickstarter because we started getting prices today, and I was like, oh shit! And I started asking people what they'll pay for them, and I'm like, oh shit! So you backed it, so you got the Kickstarter update tonight. I put the thing about the pins in it, and people have already started being like, pins, we want pins. So even doing podcasts, and that's more of a marketing product issue, but I was like, I hear what you're saying, and like I'm like, yeah, y'all are pretty smart. I'm gonna steal your idea that you gave me, and I'm gonna try to do it because people are smart. They tell you stuff all the time. You just gotta listen.
So no, wait a minute. Are they real pens or are they going to be digital pens?
Well, here's the thing: Trish gets a digital pen. Everyone else gets a metal pen, right?
I
Trish
love that. That's awesome. That's
she's
great.
the only person. She'll get the only. It'll be worth $1 million. This digital pen. I love it.
So you hear that, Trish? You're only getting a digital pen. I love it. I absolutely love it. So one last question for you. I don't want to keep you all night,
Yeah,
but I
no,
did
go
want
ahead.
to ask. You talked about the sketchbooks
Mhm,
and some of the earlier works before Lords of the Cosmos. Do
mhm.
you have a website where people can purchase that, or do you still have like copies of those for sale?
So those books are totally sold out. I don't have physical copies of the older books I've done anymore. However, they're on Comixology. So if you
Okay.
look me up on Comixology, you can buy them digital. Oh my God, you can buy them digitally, right? No, they're on Comixology. I haven't reprinted them. What's out's out. I may reprint them at some point, but at this time, I don't really have plans to. I've really been focusing on the books and Lords of the Cosmos. And then to get print runs of hundreds of books that I've already sold a bunch of in my circles and done Kickstarters, it's kind of like it's time to let them, you know, they can go. They can kind of siphon out. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Shit. Oh my goodness. Um, no, but so anyway, if you want to track me down online, so I'll run through the links. So my website is jasonlenox.com, Lenox, right? Lenox.com. Um,
No.
Lennox, right? It's easy to find. JasonLennox.com. I'm on Facebook as Jason Lenox Illustrator. Now, if you're feeling risky, you can be my friend, right? Just look me up. My picture on Facebook is me when I'm 6 holding Cookie Monster, I think. And I post a lot of memes. It's a pretty fun personal page, not so much art. But be my friend on Facebook if you're feeling risky. Now, if you want to go to Twitter or Instagram, I'm at Lennox Artist. And then my Etsy store where you can buy Lords of the Cosmos issues normally when there's not a Kickstarter going on, and swag. I have about 120 prints, a lot of satanic prints. It's weird because I have a lot of fans. I do a lot of satanic artwork, and it's funny because a lot of people only know me for that. And then they're like, "You do comics too?" And I'm like, "Well, they're not satanic, but yeah, no, I do a pile of that too." So if you like satanic stuff, if you like mythology, if you like dystopia, like my 1984 shirt, hey, in stock, right? Um, so if you go to Etsy, I'm Lennox Art Emporium. So, and then if you want to check out the Kickstarter, hey, press, right? Just go to any of my social media. It's pinned on Facebook, it's pinned on Twitter, and it's all over my Instagram page, and it's pinned
And
on
I
the.
just put it in the comments.
There you got it. But yeah, it's just look up Lords of the Cosmos for Kickstarter on Google. We all know how to use Google,
The
right? So
Googles. I
the
don't know.
term,
Steph Wilson might not know how to use the Google. I don't know
hey,
if that's compatible on his Jitterbug.
they have the internet and computers now, so it's all good. You can find the Kickstarter on the Googles. The Google. Oh man.
I was going to ask you something else, dang it, and then I just slipped my mind.
Take a minute.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Yeah, so yesterday, get this. So yesterday I wasn't on Facebook at all yesterday, except for in the morning I shared out a couple art videos.
Mm.
So some artists were doing, and I was off Facebook all day. I didn't accept any friend requests. I didn't accept any page invites. So yesterday, you sent me an invitation for Ugly Studios. I was like, oh yeah, I want to go check this out. And I was like, I hit accept, and Facebook banned me yesterday from doing anything. And I'm not blaming you. It's just hilarious because I don't even remember what the freaking. Hold on here. I'll make it easy for you. We'll make this super easy. I can upload it. I took a screenshot of it. I was cracking up.
What you
So
got banned for?
Yeah, I got like a temporary ban until last night. I was finally able to join it last night. Let's see, where is it? No way, I deleted it. Oh, here it is. Choose. All right, hold on. Give it a second to upload. Really? You're gonna be that slow? Here we go. So this is what I got yesterday. You can't follow pages right now. To prevent any misuse, we temporarily restricted your account, which means they restricted me from doing anything yesterday. I was like, I haven't been on Facebook all day. I liked one freaking page, and they were like, bam, you're not doing shit for the rest of the day, son. Boom. So last night I was finally able to join it, but I thought that would crack you up that
Yeah,
you sent me the invite to that, and I was like, I was gonna
man,
message you yesterday and be like, hey man, I tried to like your page. You're never gonna believe this. The one thing I do on Facebook and I get hit, bam.
I
You
like it.
can't follow pages right now.
No, my personal page is a hoot, and I accept just about anybody as a friend there. So my claim to fame, my personal page is my infamous mood of the day, because everyone's usually on there banging on whatever their political, social shit is, and I try to go more for like dumb shit, and then I always put Tuesday mood, and it's some fucking horrible shit. And I've actually had people say, your Facebook page is cool, because I never feel like I go there and it's just fucking dumb. It's just silly shit. And yeah, no, Jack, I'll see you on my page. But no, I don't want anyone to feel left out or feel like they have to feel like shit. Come to my page and you can just feel stupid for a little bit and have a laugh. I put memes and dumb shit up and oh my god, dude, oh my god. No, seriously, the show I want is John Manuel Money Man versus Trish Bengston in like a fucking Zoom fucking cage match on one of these things. That would be fucking awesome.
Hey, we don't have to do Zoom. I can have 10 people on here at one time. So we can get you on here. We can get Money Man on here, and Mike and Trish, and we can just like sit back on the sidelines and give them the full screen and be like Mortal Kombat. We'll make some graphics. It'll be like round one, fight.
So Money Man John Manuel will listen to this. If I tell him his name's in it, he will listen to this entire show. I think John Manuel and Money Man come to the table for the challenge. Bring your digital NBA Top Shot. I don't know, man. This is like one of those MMA throws. I was like, I'll whip your ass. I'll kill you. I put on.
You're gonna buy the digital shit because I'm gonna cram it down your throat.
I put on WWE for my kids and wife, and it was on for 2 minutes. And my wife, God bless her, she says, "This is so dumb." And even my kids go, my older son goes, "Daddy, this is men in their underwear hitting each other. I don't like it. It's stupid." I'm like, "Come on, let's watch a little wrestling." My younger son's like, "This is stupid. I hate it."
And that was the thing back in the day, going to grandma and grandpa's house and just sitting there with grandpa watching the Incredible Hulk, not like the cartoon, but like the Lou Ferrigno, and and then you've got we would watch the William Shatner, the old Star Trek show, or the old Star Trek movies, and wrestling and Knight Rider, and that was how it was back in the day. Yeah, Jason will be sitting in the background of the fight screen watching the fight. Yeah, we might throw some digital lettuce at him.
Money Man has had the challenge thrown down. He's going to see this and realize that he's been called out on a national podcast of interest, of note. Podcast of note. Russell
called out.
Russell. Yeah. Oh, tell me, remember, I was going to take a Slack or digital. Oh, man, I'm telling you, it is. I'm going to get a bell and be like, ding, ding. And I'm just going to be like,
Trish, hold on. I got an original for you that I'll sell you. I'll sell you the Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins #5 stuffed pool cover digitally for $10.
I'm going to screenshot that and sell the digital right there.
Exactly.
So my friends Joe and Tracy, they have a comic book store in Williamsport, PA, and I sent them a text, and Tracy is a friend, and God bless her. She got so sassy on text. She started sending me emojis. She could say, "Jason, you owe me about $300,000 for these digital arts worldwide." He's not national. He is international, an international podcast of note for this great challenge. I was like the the MMA where the guys get really close and they're just like, I will kill you, I hate you, and they're in their faces going like that. I love the ridiculous showmanship of wrestling. My favorite wrestling thing from the last few years is when Christ, I can't, the guy that architect, long hair, do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
Christ, he tore up his leg.
I
And
quit watching about, I don't know, 8 years ago, I guess.
well, I don't watch much, but this guy comes out. He'd been out for a year, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey, I haven't wrestled, and I got like 10,000 cards from everybody. Everyone's cheering, hey!" And he goes, "You know what? I hate all of you. I'm my only fan. I threw all your cards out." And everyone, well, well. And to me, I was like, that's wrestling, man. That guy's such a heel. I love it. And it was so cool. He just Seth Rollins. That's it. Seth Rollins. He goes, I hate everyone. And I'm like, you know what, Seth Rollins? Good. Fuck all these fans. They're annoying. And he goes, I threw your cards out. I don't even give a shit. And I'm like, that's what I miss about wrestling is just that stupid. Like, I'll watch YouTube stuff of Macho Man Randy Savage. Holy shit, dude. That guy's like the Three Stooges. He was a goddamn entertainer. You watch those little 2 or 3 minute, his one with the coffee creamers. I'm the cream of the crop. That shit's great.
Yeah.
Have you seen his cream of the crop shtick?
Yeah.
Where he's got them coffee and he's doing sleight of hand, pulling them out of Mean Gene's ear. You're like, that's why people love wrestling, dude. Dude, Randy Savage is like, you could just watch YouTubes of Randy Savage, and it never gets old.
No,
He's
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Slim Jim, they did the Slim Jim. Snap it to a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. No. Well, hey, let's hope they don't bring him back as a hologram like they did to poor Prince, or not Prince, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, I saw Ronnie James Dio going to be oh, my God. Maybe Trish will be at the hologram Ronnie James Dio concert.
Wearing their digital T-shirt that you gave her.
Yeah, we better get off of here before we get in hot water. This is going to get ugly.
We're going to get off of here, and our messages are going to start blowing up.
Ding, 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 ding. I bet Trish knows that coffee creamer. I'm the cream of the crop. Best wrestling moment ever. And he sees sleight of hand and coffee creamers out of Mean Gene's suit. He's like, let me pull it out of your suit, Mean Gene. There you go. There's coffee. Yeah. No, man, this has been a blast, Russell. Thanks for having me on. Shit, I just wish we lived closer. We could play lawn darts or something.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
With the good ones, the pointed ones, not with the safety curbs.
I love it.
And we'll drink from the hose.
Gurgle, gurgle.
Oh, everybody's going live tonight. That's why we've had so many people bouncing in and out, Trish. But that's right. That's what the playback's for tomorrow. So yeah, I'll let you go, man. If you would, please hang out in the green room for a second. So when I end the show, I'll come back and chat with you for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot for being on.
Thanks for the questions, man. Thanks. I'll hang out. Yeah, no problem.
All right, cool. I'll be back in just a second.
Yeah, take your time.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for being here tonight. Had an awesome time talking with Jason. I love the project. The project's freaking phenomenal. The 80s were the best time for cartoons and for stories and for over-the-topness. And his comics got the over-the-top. Don't believe me? Go check out that Kickstarter link in the comments. Go check out that Kickstarter link in the description. And give it some love. Share it with your friends. If you can't afford to back it, share. Joe's just as far. And guys, we're counting down. Exactly a week from now, I will be on with Brian K. Morris live from Clever Title Pending to launch the relaunch of Xeno Nanite Titan. Super excited for that. You should be too. And you'll never believe what I got today. I'm going to show this off real quick. I'm not trying to hijack Jason's show, but I couldn't not show it off. Here is the backer crossover bonus for CB Zane if you back my project for Xeno Nanite Titan and CB Zane's Into the Suck. There's Steph Wilson. And there is Ruben Rosas of Squee riding Wyvern Knight. So it's not going to be a digital reward. It's going to be a physical reward. One that she can hold. And it's actually made out of metal. Just kidding. Just kidding, Trish. But this thing turned out phenomenal. I love how the artwork looks. I'm super excited. Cool looking. We going to get that. Oh, for sure. You're going to get that. So, everyone, thanks a lot for being here. Please check out Jason's project. Please go by and give people's projects some love. Share it out. Sharing is caring. Share the show to any pages so people can watch the playback on it and get some more eyes on the project. There's 12 days left. There are 18 days into the project, so a little over a week. So, thanks a lot for being here tonight, guys. Really appreciate you asking questions. And as always, Russ Explode Studios, projects that'll blow your mind. You all have a wonderful night.